Another month has just flown by, and that means it's time for another haul video. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies way too much. If you're new to my haul videos, they're different from the rest of my content, and they're a lot more laid back. I tell more stories. I just kind of say whatever comes to mind and let my personality come out a little bit more, and I try and shoot them just in one take, which is a little bit of a lie because I just shot about 10 takes of this intro, but hopefully this is the take that will stick. With that said, down below in the description, you can find links to all the items I picked up and where you can pick them up on Amazon. If you're interested in some of those items, you can see those links down below. One final thing before we get started. This video is brought to you by my supporters over on Patreon. I like to think about my Patreon community as kind of like the inner circle. I get to know them a lot better. I do a weekly Q&A video with them every single Saturday where there's normally only about 10 people in there, so I can answer everybody's questions. I can actually interact back and forth with people and talk movies too much with actual people. If you might be interested in that, check it out down below at that link down below in the description. With that said, let's get started talking about what I picked up this month, and it is a weird, eclectic mix of new things, old things, all over the place. Video games, graphic novels, and a few Funkos. First off, we've got Alita Battle Angel. I was actually very excited for this movie to come out. Even though it's still in the wrapper, I bought like a digital version of it off of Vudu, so I got the disc plus digital thing. Bought it early so I could watch it with my wife. I was excited about this one because my wife didn't watch it with me in the theater. And it was a movie I thought she's probably going to have some fun with this. I don't know if she'll love it. I don't know exactly how she'll feel about it, but I know that she'll appreciate a lot of things about it, and that's essentially exactly what her take was. She's like, had a lot to say about it afterwards. Sometimes she's like, okay, that movie happened. This one, she had all kinds of things she loved, and she's like, oh, this was kind of weird. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of my take on it too. I love these things about it, with especially the character of Alita, a lot of the way the action is designed. In theory, the world building, but the specific plot and some of the characters, maybe not so much. The actual packaging here is really frustrating because I got it through the mail, of course, since I did the Vudu plus digital plus disc deal. And so it's got like this little Funko of Alita inside of it, which is kind of fun. It's like a keychain version of a Funko of her. And I mean, I'm going to open the packaging eventually anyway, but like it came in the mail damaged. So maybe I'll complain about that or something, but that is frustrating that it came in the mail messed up. Coming in a few months, we've got a new Rambo movie, so I completed my Blu-ray collection of the Rambo movies. This is the only one I didn't have on Blu-ray, which is pretty random not to have the second one, so I picked it up. I already rewatched all the Rambo movies because my wife was out of town a little bit ago, so I decided to watch only rated R, very violent movies while she was gone, which was a great week. But yeah, picked that one up, and I'm going to rewatch them again in about a month in preparation for the new one, to do a nice slick ranking of them. But yeah, Rambo First Blood Part 2. I actually also this past month listened to the book First Blood. Some people don't realize this. The original First Blood, the original Rambo movie, is based off of a book. And it's a really interesting one too, in that like structurally, it's basically the same. Same basic ideas, same basic characters inside of it, but it's also totally different, based almost entirely just around the idea that Rambo kills people in the book, and he doesn't really do that in the movie. At least not directly. In the book, he directly just murders people, and it's more like accidents happen inside of the movie, and it wildly changes the tone, the direction, what do you want to see happen at the end of it. It's an interesting experience of how small changes can lead for such a totally different vibe for the exact same story. Next up, another one I was very excited to pick up. Another one my wife didn't see in the theater that I wanted her to see so badly, Shazam. So as it turned out, my wife basically had the exact take on it. I was thinking she would. She laughed at it. She had fun with it. And she's like, why does it get so violent all out of nowhere? So it's like, yeah, that's about right. Still haven't shown it to my kids because I'm thinking, when do I want to skip and all that fun stuff? But one of these days I want to sit down, and there's a bunch of stuff inside the movie that they'll love, and then a bunch of scenes that I'm definitely going to skip over. Once again, making for a movie that's like, why were you so close to being a movie that's great for the family and then decide to have demons eating people's heads in a board meeting? I don't know. Like, why would you do that? But also picked this one up 4K, decided to go all in on this one to future-proof my collection for 5% of my purchases. Next one, the classic Terminator Genesis, the very bizarre film that came out just a few years back in the Terminator franchise that a lot of people hate this movie. My take on all the movies after Terminator 2 has basically always been that they're fun fan fiction. They're like big budget fan fiction. And if I watch them as that, I kind of have fun with them. I'm totally fine with all of the bad Terminator movies. Like, if you tell me why you hate them and why you don't want to watch them, why they're despicable to you, I'm not going to defend them. I'm going to be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But as for me, they can just be kind of fun fan fiction for me. And this one falls into that category too. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I can't believe that you did this to the mythology. Like, what were you thinking taking in this direction? But I don't hate the movie. I'm not bored or anything like that. So this is the only Terminator movie I didn't own because I have like the set that has all the other movies and new Terminator movie coming out. So picked them up so I could watch it. Much like the Rambo movies, I watched all the Terminator movies the last couple of weeks and I'll watch them again in a couple of months. But this was the one I didn't have. Now I have it and just rewatched a couple weeks ago and had the exact same feeling on it that I had before. All right, just pick this one out of the bargain bin. It was like $5-6 at Best Buy. One of my absolute favorite high school movies. 10 Things I Hate About You. It's a movie that both has Robin and the Joker inside of it, which is pretty exciting to have the duo, seeing them in their high school days. I like to think about this film as kind of a bit of a prequel to the Dark Knight trilogy. But yeah, just great little fun, heartfelt, romantic, all the things you want out of a high school movie, all in one movie with a fantastic cast of people that went on to do a bunch of amazing things. You're seeing the start of the greatness right here in this film, and it was like $5 or $6, so I had to pick it up. Now, it says 10th anniversary edition right here. No, this movie came out 20 years ago, so this is a 10-year-old Blu-ray. Actually, as a fun little story, I saw this movie in the theater in Abilene, Texas, while my sister was in college in Abilene, and it was like 2-3 months before The Phantom Menace came out. And the sound kept cutting out in the theater. And I actually thought to myself, like, this is outrageous that the sound keeps going. What kind of theater is this? I'm going to send a letter to Lucasfilm and tell them that they should not screen Star Wars The Phantom Menace at this theater that does not have proper sound, which was a very random thing for me to get worked up, and such a specific application for how to like right the wrong that the sound cut out on one screening of one movie on one occasion in my life. But apparently I was a very self-important 17-year-old at the time. Next up, we have got It, the miniseries. I've never seen this. I've never seen the miniseries. It's not even open. So in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I will open this bad mamba jamba up and watch it. I'm not quite sure if I might actually wait until after I see the new one to watch this one. Because I think I want to do that just to have the freshest take of the new version that comes out. That's probably what I'll do. So this will still be wrapped until after I see the new one. Then I'll open this up, give it a watch, and I'll have a ranking for them. But it's one of those movies that people that grew up watching it seem to have very fond memories of it, with some reservations about a few things that happened inside of it. But it seems like also one that if you didn't grow up watching it, you're probably going to, like myself, I'm probably going to be very self-aware, or not self-aware, but very aware of just how much of a TV miniseries that's almost 30 years old that it is. So we'll see what happens in about a month. And finally, in our Blu-ray collection, we've got Chef, one of the Jon Favreau films. I just think it's a delightful little film. Picked it up because I was going to do a ranking of all the Jon Favreau films, bought it, and then the next day they added it onto Amazon Prime. I double checked, it's not on any of the streaming stuff. I don't mind buying it, and I still don't mind that I bought it, but I literally checked to see if there's anywhere to stream it. There wasn't. I bought it, and then it appeared on the streaming services immediately afterwards. That's the way the universe works sometimes. But yeah, if you haven't seen this one, you should check this one out. It's a nice little smaller comedy that's a little drama inside of it about kind of careers and things like that. You're food heavy because it's about a chef and a food truck. They stopped by Austin so you can see the area where I live inside of it. Next up, we've got something that I reviewed a week ago. Moving into game category. For the Switch, what am I looking at? I paused for a second, what did I just grab? Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, video game only for the Switch. I want to do more video game reviews, and I keep asking people, can you share what you want me to review? But it has to be a future game. I'm not going to do retro reviews. I'm not going to review a game that came out a year ago. And then in the comments, people are like, you should do Red Dead Redemption. You should do Mario Kart for the Switch. I was like, that's the thing I'm saying I'm not going to do. Future games. I need your help knowing what's coming out in the future so I can plan for it. I'm not looking to go backwards, because I'm not a big enough gamer that I could add to that. But as something new comes out, I could join the conversation as it happens. So if you still have any suggestions, go for it. But anyway, yeah, I put my review out of this one last week. I had a lot of fun with my family, just like sitting, or had a lot of frustration and a lot of fun, a little mix of all of it. Sitting down on my couch, I literally rearranged my living room so that we could just sit right in front of the TV and bought a bunch of junk food and just had the first time we've ever done that in their entire lifetime, just sat down to play video games as a family for a full weekend. So it was a nice little memorable thing from this summer they'll probably be talking about, that, you know, I'll be talking about too. But the game itself, a little frustrating because of the way I played it. Having a 5-year-old on my team made it difficult to learn how to play it. As soon as we kicked the 5-year-old out and I could play it up by myself, I figured out how the game worked. So then we could bring the 5-year-old back in, and all of us had a lot more fun. And I could be nice Sean, not angry Coach Sean, trying to, you know, save the universe from Thanos. But anyway, if you got a Switch, you like Marvel, probably want to check this one out. The big thing about it is that you can actually play all these characters. I mean, like, you know, there's 36 playable characters just in the basic version of it, and you pretty quickly unlock most of them. So we've got like 33 of the 36 unlocked in a week. And but so you're never going to get a Doctor Strange video game, but in this game you can play as Doctor Strange and he's casting spells. He's very Doctor Strangey, and you got Venom. We're not going to get a video. Well, we might get a Venom video game, but you can play as Venom inside of it, Deadpool, and kind of go down the list, build your own team. You can play as the Defenders, and so that's the thing to it that I think is the cool part, is that each of the characters feel like themselves, have their unique abilities. So the game can be, you have all your Defenders, and you can play through the whole game as the Defenders if you want to do, or turn it into X-Men video game. Anyway. My review is up. You can check that out. All right, let's move on to some other fun things. So my mom watched my kids for a week, or not for a week. That's not what happened at all. My mom watched the kids for a night. It might have just been a day. I'm losing my mind. What am I talking about here? Anyway, she took them to the store while she was watching them and decided they would pick me up some Funkos, which is an interesting set of Funkos. So these are the Disney remake Funkos for Scar and Pumbaa. So what you're looking at is they took an animated character, converted into a real life character, and then converted it into the cartoonish Funko Pop version of the real life adaptation of the cartoon character, which is, as soon as I saw them, I was like, it is so fascinating what they attempted to do with these and the backstory of how you would describe what this version of these characters are. Or if you want to throw an extra version in, it takes swings at Disney over ripping off the White Lion or whatever the Kumba is that they apparently ripped off. It's the adaptation of the 50-year-old cartoon turned into a live-action adaptation, turned into these guys right here. So anyway, some pretty fun ones that my kids picked out for me with my mother. Then one I picked up at GameStop. Like they bought those for me. Then I took my kids to GameStop, and by chance, they just happened to have a delightful Michael Scott. I don't have, up to this point in time, I didn't have any of the Office characters as Funkos. Been meaning to get them, and there was Michael Scott. So had to get it, brought it home, was like, hey, wife, look what I picked up. And she went, this is mine, and took it immediately, like away from me. I was like, wow, she really wanted a Michael Scott Funko Pop. I don't even know what she's going to do with it, but she wanted it so bad, she stole it from me immediately upon seeing it. And finally, a couple of pickups that I got today, literally like 2 hours ago. I was at the Half Price bookstore, and they had the Ultimates, which if you don't know, the Ultimates is like its own pocket continuity in the Marvel universe. We're like, hey, let's do a reboot just to kind of tell a nice, succinct, movie-esque version of the Avengers and how they all kind of come together without worrying about all their continuity. We'll call it the Ultimates continuity. So call it the Ultimates. And in a lot of ways, this is where our version of the Avengers came from. In a lot of ways, it's not quite that simple, but like stuff like before this, Nick Fury looked like David Hasselhoff. Like they made a TV movie of Nick Fury in the late 90s. Cast David Hasselhoff. He's like, yeah, he looks perfect as Nick Fury. Then this came out, and they redrew the character as this guy right here, who very clearly is drawn to look exactly like Samuel L. Jackson. So then when Samuel L. Jackson showed up in the post-credit scene for Iron Man, someone was like, it's like the Ultimate. It's just like the comic book. And that's what it was. So do you want to like a nice version of the Avengers movie that's not the Avengers movie before it, and it's got Ant-Man, Wasp inside of there? check out the Ultimates. And then the other one, I haven't read this one, but I watched the movie Flashpoint, and I've seen the season, or the episode of the TV show The Flash, where Flash goes back in time, saves his mom, and it screws up the whole timeline. And so inside of it, Bruce Wayne is actually the one that he gets killed, and so Thomas Wayne becomes Batman as this very angry alcoholic Batman. It's pretty fun. And then I guess also inside of it, his mom becomes the Joker. So I never actually read it. Pretty excited. It's one of those like ideas that I love the idea of Thomas Wayne Batman. I've actually developed my own Flashpoint, what I would do if I were to adapt it and how I would put the pieces together. It's really quite good. I'm pretty excited about this story that no one will ever hear and that will never be made anything. But in my head, I was very excited about it. Anyway, this is what I picked up. Remember to check out Patreon to see if it's right for you, if you like it, or any of the stuff that I picked up here. Look at those links down below in the description, and you can pick those up there. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.